Hello, welcome back for another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. This one is really exciting. Right here you can see some Warriors of Chaos, very finely painted. And this is the exciting part. We have a new player in our group, and Jeff is just getting into his Warriors of Chaos. This is his first game, and he already has this and plenty more Warriors painted. He's got a bunch of Warhounds painted, and he's really making huge progress with the rest of his army, and it's really, really exciting for us. So, I helped make up this list. I didn't put a huge amount of time into it. It's 1,500 points Warriors, 1,500 points of Orcs and Goblins versus 3,000 points of Wood Elves. We kept it simple, where they could share power dice, where they each had a general and a BSB, and it never really came into play them using each other's rolls and rerolls, but just thought we'd keep it simple for Jeffrey's first game. So, here's looking at their armies here. I still focused on the Warriors of Chaos. Pretty cool. He's got a bunch of Marauders here, outside 25, I think, with his Sorcerer Lord in the corner. I think they're due to be painted shortly. A bunch of Chaos Warriors there with his BSB, the unpainted Exalted Hero there. And this is on my recommendation. Those are his two big units. He could then move his Sorcerer Lord out of that unit, but in the meantime, his characters are split up. There's a Goblin Rock Lava here in the corner. 5 Chaos Hounds, whatever they're called. Big unit of Savage Orc Biggins with, the +5 ward save. Caster in there, his BSB on a boar. Next to them, a unit of Orcs with his general over in the corner. Next, see some of them are painted. We keep waiting for Hattie to paint the rest of his army. It's going to be really, really great when they're all painted. It'll just be awesome. Next to them on the hill are 5 Chaos Knights. They're in process of being painted and should be done by this weekend, I would imagine. And then in the far corner, there is a Chariot, a few more Warhounds, and here's a close-up of the Warhounds, and another Rock Lava. I really can't tell you how impressed I am that these guys are getting painted and put together so quickly. It's really nice to see it happen and have it all come together like this. It makes it for a lot of fun, and I'm sure once the whole army is painted, they're going to be more formidable than they already are. Never figured out exactly how that works when somehow the army plays better when it's painted. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoy this game. We played a simple battle line just to keep things straightforward and easy. Again, the idea is this being Jeffrey's first game, etc. I gave some pointers, and like I said, I made up Jeffrey's list. I gave him Banner of Fire, the Lore of Fire, kept it pretty simple, no marks, undivided I guess you'd call it, just to make it simple. Here's looking at my list from my left flank. I have a unit of 5 Glade Riders and 5 Wild Riders behind, 12 Dryads with Branch Nymph and a Branch Wraith with a cluster of Radiance for +1 spell dice and Murder of Spites for extra attacks, 6 Treekin, my little thing of Athel Lauren, which I just like to put behind and pretend like I'm defending. Makes it seem that much more real. I decided I'd play a more interesting list here, and so I put together 30 Eternal Guard, which clearly are not painted, and a Garish Scar on my army. And in that unit's my Spellweaver with the 5-up ward save for the whole group, and my general, for which I have a War Dancer model, but that's because he has the Fencer's Blade and 2 swords. So I thought it would just be cool. In the meantime, looks good. Next to them, I have 12 or 11 Glade Guard with my BSB in there. His little Honor Guard of 5 War Dancers. A Great Eagle in front, 12 more Dryads, and then behind the Dryads, some more Glade Guard, some Way Watchers, and another Eagle. So I started over here. I started placing first, trying to draw them out with my Eagles. I'm not super impressed with my placement. I'm pretty happy, but I feel like my war dancers are kind of stuck behind, and I'm gotta move. I gotta shift a bunch of guys left and right to get clear paths, and I don't know. Wood elves are great with movement, but I want to maximize that unit movement and capitalize on it, not have to use it to get out of my own way. But that's alright. So here's a picture of my honor guard. Vanguard movement. I move both fast cav units up. I'm headed over towards his right flank and try to get into his rock lava as soon as I possibly can. Lately, Hattie's been rolling really well with them, and I just want to make sure that they don't utterly destroy me. He clearly has many less units. And they win the roll off for the first turn, and they move up like so, real far on the right flank. And then in the middle, they're a little bit less aggressive. The thing in the middle is an Altar of Cain, I believe. It gives everyone within 6 inches frenzy. So I almost would have thought the Warriors would have charged right up, got in that bubble, and then really been able to meet out some huge damage. But they're playing it cautious. I understand it's Jeffrey's first game, their first time playing together, etc. The Warhounds come out in front, kind of as chaff, and get me focused on them. You'll notice the two Warriors units, Chaos Warrior units, stay close enough together so they can move their models back and forth between them. Don't believe anyone squabbled the first round, but that's alright. So here's like just another look at the incoming Chaos Warriors. That just is scary. Now, I don't know if they dropped a rock on me or cast a spell, but one way or the other, they killed 5 of my Eternal Guard. And just keep in mind, Eternal Guard are terrible, but they can be pretty fun if you give them all a 5+ ward save, and with a highborn in there, they're stubborn. So that's what I'm relying on. I'm trying to buff them. They always have, with toughness, give them rerollable ward saves, or just ward saves, and then make it stubborn so they'll be hard to kill. And then I can hopefully win by combat resolution, which I just never get to do with Wood Elves. So I've got this is on my left flank. My Glade Riders are ready to attack the rock lava. My Wild Riders ready to go on the flank of the Marauders. I move these Dryads right up into this forest. They're a ways away, but if he's tempted to charge me, I'll be stubborn. And I don't move up too far. Make a nice little concave here in the foreground. You can see I move my Dryads left and forward to kind of get them closer to this my little forest in the middle, and then move everyone up behind him. Here's a better look at that. So I brought them out from in front of the Glade Guard, moved the Glade Guard and Way Watchers up so they're within 15 inches of the Knights. I'm very, very nervous about the Knights, and the goal is to take them out as soon as possible with Killing Blow and with Strength 4. Also at 15 inches, I'll be able to flee, moving up. I'm away from my table edge. I can flee away, rally, shoot again, etc., etc. It's game plan anyways, we'll see how that goes. Just to be sure, I take my eagle, you can kind of see him there. Here's a better picture of the eagle. I fly my one eagle right out in front of the Knights so that he cannot wheel past me, and we'll have to charge and then be faced in the wrong direction. So yeah, he'll kill me, but then won't overrun, will reform, etc., etc. It's hard to see, but in the background is my other eagle, and that is much clearer. He's just getting in behind the lines. I put him there facing back towards my lines so that I can charge the rear of his Warhounds and what have you. In my magic phase, my level 4 of life regrows several Eternal Guard. And, I'm just not certain Lore of Life is the way to go. It's really cool as a defensive thing. I wish I could take multiple level 4s. That would be more interesting, I think. But I don't get to buff them. My first... this is great. I rolled really well at the beginning. It was my first round of shooting at the Knights. This is to wound, I believe. They're so tough. They save all but one. But that's great for me. So one less Knight. I'm perfectly happy with that. I also shoot down the Warhounds. There's only one left, and he runs away. Not a big deal. It does cause a panic test, but easily passed. Now, In the warrior and goblins turn 2, they start making a whole bunch of charges. You can see here they've charged my eagle, and there's a few other arrows in behind. So I got the orcs and the knights charging this eagle, and that's what he's there for. I don't want to flee with him because then he'll get to redirect into my other units. So I keep him there to accept the charges. You can see in this larger picture that my other eagle is not in the same spot that he was. He was charged initially by the chariot, so my reaction was to flee. He flew over in front of savages, who then redirected. He then flies over here, and you will see a little bit later that he's then charged subsequently by the Chaos Hounds again. So I have, with these two guys, completely got his guys, got the other armies running all over the board, which is my intent. Works out really well and made for a very interesting description of how this works, which then comes into play later, so it was a good learning tutorial for all of us. But what this means here is that it occupies his units and gives me another round to shoot, where I know that my eagle here in the middle will die. I'll be able to shoot at his knights, and I'll be able to focus on other things as need be. So all in all, I am pretty happy. Here's a look. There's the Warhounds charging as well. I've taken out one of his knights, but that's alright. And after the Warhounds charge, my eagle flies this way, lands right between my Glade Riders, my Dryads, and my Glade Guard, which I'm okay with. Brings him closer to my BSB's bubble, and I should be able to rally him no problem, which is cool by me. So here is a look at how things are after all the charges. The Warhounds fail, the Chariot fails, and the Savages fail. They try to redirect into the, what are they called? Dryads, but don't make it, and that's okay. And we don't even really bother to roll off. He absolutely annihilates my eagle with his awesome knights, and that's okay. So this round, he then, I believe this is another rock. He drops a rock on my guys. I save some of the wounds, but do lose one guy to another rock lava, which is, you know, I mean, things are just great when they're on, they're on. So cheap, so powerful. So on my turn, I'll look to regrowth him back. Sure enough, after combat, the knights win and reform. They get in the way of the orcs who try to overrun and all that. So my turn 2. What I do here is I double charge into this unit of marauders. Jeff has wisely moved his Sorcerer Lord out of this unit, just in the off chance I can do some wounds. Like, yeah, they'll give him some combat res, but when things look like this, I'm going to do a lot of damage. And sure enough, like, you know, it's not quite a throwaway unit, but it's pretty darn close. And then in the background left, I charge the rock lava with my Glade Riders. In the middle of my ranks, I just square off my lines. In the middle, I put my Dryads in the trees so that they will be stubborn, sort of combating his unit of Marauders, who will likely be steadfast, and then put my BSB's unit in behind so they can shoot at the Chaos Warriors. This is the first of several of my mistakes. Luckily, this one doesn't come back to haunt me. And then on my right flank, I have a little bit of a concave, get everyone within 15 inches so I can shoot at the Knights, which I'm hoping to do some more damage there. And my Eagle rallies, which is also great. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are going on this side. I'm very happy with the way this looks. I get Flesh of Stone off on my Dryads, so they're going to be taking the brunt of the attacks, and they should survive pretty well. And I'm able to to regrowth my Treekin. Not once do I get Throne of Vines off, so throughout this whole game they dispel that. So in the shooting phase, this is my roll, my second rounds of shots at the Knights. also some pretty fantastic rolling. I take out 2 more, which is great. I think only killing below 1. And they end up failing their panic check, and I believe we forgot the Will of Chaos or whatever that lets them reroll panic checks, and they flee. In the long run, it's probably the best thing that could have happened. Puts them behind my lines, behind his own lines, protects them from shooting. My Glade Riders cause fear on the Goblins, and even with fear, the Goblins manage to kill 1 Glade Rider. I kill 1 back, you can see him falling over there, and with the charge I win by 1, and they break, I run them down, so that's 1 less rock lava that's going to be shooting at me. And at the end of combat, it looks like this. I think I lost 1 Dryad. I believe I forgot about the Flesh to Stone even. But I absolutely do a ton of damage, but not enough to break his Steadfast. I would have needed to kill 2 more guys. And they're within his bubble, and of course they're going to stick around. But coming up on his turn 3, I'm hoping to do the same thing with my Dryads if his units get in to combat with them, my other unit in the forest. And sure enough, he double charges. It looks like 1 massive unit, but it's actually a horde of Savage Orc Biggins, and his Orc boys on the other side. The Orc boys I'm not too worried about. His general's there, and I thought he was going to move his general into combat, but maybe he was just trying to protect him. And then in the background you can see the 2 fleeing knights, but now they are out of range. I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot of other damage. In the near foreground and to the right, his Warhounds charge my eagle, who flees, and then they redirect into the flank of my War Dancers. I did not really see this coming, but I'm not terribly worried about it either. I'm pretty sure that my War Dancers can handle, and even though he's in my flank, he only has 2 guys in combat, because with the bigger base, that's max. And over here, it's not quite as great for me. He charges into my flank with his Chaos Warriors. Luckily, this round I do have Flesh to Stone off, but he starts casting, and he gets all these buffs from the Fire Lore, fulminating Flame Cage and cascading Flame Arc or something like that. So his unit's buffed. After combat, he's killed a few of my Dryads, and I've killed quite a few of his Marauders, but the Wild Riders flee. They break, and they lose combat, and they break. I only lost by 1 somehow, thanks to Flesh Stone, I think. But the Wild Riders flee nonetheless. And on this side, I win combat. I kill 1 Warhound. I win combat, reform to face him. So I'm very happy with the way this is going to go. The first round I gave them the 4+ ward save. This round I will just go all out with extra attacks, and just sheer number of attacks should be able to take out the strength 3 Warhounds. So I'm happy there. Then I'll reform. And then this is the big combat with my Dryads. You can see how annihilated they are, but if you look a lot closer, 1 survives, even with a broken back branch and all. You can kind of see that in the middle there. Could be that I broke that myself and did not reglue it back on, or it could be more likely that the Orcs did that in the combat, but he blends right in there to the forest, and that's why he sticks around. Steadfast in the forest, or stubborn in the forest, skirmishers are, so that is fantastic. Rerollable 9 leadership, and the 1 Dryad sticks around. So now he is completely out in the open, ready for me to charge. And the unit of Orcs on the side there, I forget what they do, but not a whole lot. So my turn 3, things are looking a bit more grim on the side. One of his spells does a bunch of damage after magic, and so my Dryads are down to just 1 rank, and Flesh to Stone is gone. You can see in the background I've moved my Glade Riders and my Wild Riders over towards the middle to try to get after behind his lines and get after the other rock lava. So I double charge his unit of Savage Orcs, and I'm pretty comfortable that this is going to go my way. If for nothing else than just the sheer amount of attacks I'll have in the flank. And I shift my BSB's unit over to the side. Now, I put them behind the Dryads, and not realizing that I ran the risk of his Savages overrunning into my BSB's unit, which would have been terrible. In fact, they would have hit the Eternal Guard, but still not good. And then these guys, I move forward thinking that, oh, I don't have to worry about the chariot, thinking that I'll be able to shoot at the orcs and do some damage, but kind of stuck out in no man's land. My war dancers are going to be taking whatever charge after they beat the warhounds, but you know, this is where this game ended up taking us almost 6 hours, and by then I was a little punchy. However, the big combat in the middle does very much go my way. I win, and I run him down with the Eternal Guards unit. Again, I start to get really scared here. This is the end of my turn 3, and I'm starting to think, alright, he's got these 2 knights. Who's he going to charge? So I face the knights. I've got the... You can see the knights in the background. The warhound is rallied. Just out of sight to the left are his warriors who are still in combat with my dryads, but, you know, so I'm thinking they're facing other way. I'm not too worried. I keep these 2 units facing the knights. They're kind of stuck out here. I can't actually move them after the challenge, but after the overrun or pursuit. But this is where things start to go weird. So my war dancers handily beat the warhounds and turn to face the orcs. They're sitting out in the middle here, but again, I'm still just not super happy with all of this. Basically, he'll charge the war dancers who cannot flee, and all this because the war dancers started behind the dryads and kind of were stuck there. So the war dancers will be overrun. It may be on a charge. I could just by sheer killingness be able to do enough wounds to win combat, but likely here I'm just going to die. Then he'll overrun past my lines, which of course he does. He also charges the Glade Guard with his chariot. Even though I'm steadfast, he breaks me in and I flee off the board, so he gets the banner. And he, with the orcs, beats my war dancers and overruns in the eagle. And likely he'll beat that, pursue off the board, or he'll try to restrain him however he wants. But then, if you look over in the far corner, there are my Way Watchers, and what are they doing? They are running away. So they fail their leadership check, and they're running away. Not too worried. I probably have 2 rounds, so worst comes to worst, they won't run off the board. I won't lose those points, but not spectacular. And then at the beginning or end of his magic phase, he does the fire wounds to my dryads, destroys them all. So now all of a sudden he's no longer in combat with me. The marauders are still alive. I did do 1 wound to his sorcerer lord, but you know, it's just not enough. So here again, I am, let's see, so this is still his turn, so my guys are still standing in the middle. He brings his knights. He does not charge my guys, which is probably wise. If he charges the flank of my Treekin here, I would probably stick with steadfast and then be able to flank charge him. And he moves them up to threaten my wild riders. So in my turn 4, it was hard to see. There was a warhound in the forest there in front of my Treekin. I charged them with the wild riders, and I moved my glade riders past the line of sight of the Chaos Knights. I guess what I should have done, you know, in retrospect, is just kept redirecting the Knights with the Glade Riders and use them, and then it would free up these 2 units here, so I wouldn't get stuck in this indecision I was talking about before. So I get flesh to stone to the Treekin, and then just stick here, and instead of turning to face the Chaos Warriors who are my real threat, I keep both these units facing the Knights just out in the middle. I'm worried about, you know, the damage they can do, which is a lot, but it's not impossible to survive. So this is where I start to make some mistakes. I bring this unit of Glade Guard around and turn them to face this combat. I think I'm going to win, and my Way Watchers do rally, and I bring them a little bit closer to the chariot, knowing that he won't be able to charge me because he is facing, indeed, the wrong direction. Turn 5 for the Chaos Warriors. He charges in, does, I can't remember how many
Wild Riders I had, but he kills all but 2. I need a 4 to stick, and somehow I roll a 4. So just for your all benefit, I put the 3 and the 1 in there so that we can all see. And I'm really excited because this means that I get to countercharge with my Treekin, and I'm thinking, wow, this is great. I will just absolutely annihilate these knights, no big deal. Let's go, let's have at it. It's turn 5, things are going to be great. While all that's going on, the Chaos Warriors turn to face me. They were facing the wrong direction, so they cannot charge this round, but now all of a sudden they're headed my direction, and I'm facing the entirely wrong direction, and can't get into combat, can't do anything at all. So I charge his knights in my turn 5, don't kill them, they survive with my Treekin. I'm still facing the wrong direction with my Eternal Guard. And so what happens here is I'm thinking his warriors, which are now on the flank of my Treekin, are going to charge at my Eternal Guard. But luckily for me, they start talking about double charging with this unit of Orcs as well. And you look in the foreground here, and it's, well, of course they're just going to charge the Glade Guard. I'm not worried. But then it doesn't even dawn on me that they'll be charging into the flank of the Eternal Guard. There's no way I'll survive that combo, especially with the Orc General and the Sorcerer General there. I'm just like, so luckily, the way they do it, I'm able to flee. I flee out of the charge arc of the Orcs. The Orcs are stuck. They can't charge. He does redirect into my Treekin with the Chaos Warriors, but you know, the way it works out there is he beats my Wild Riders, kills him to a man. I kill his knight, his last remaining knight, to a man. God, I wish I had beat them in the first round of combat in turn 5. And then just absolutely annihilates me with the warriors. Here's my general and sorcerer sitting out here in this unit of Unpainted Eternal Guard, fleeing. Again, it's turn 6. I'll have 1 turn. If I can rally, I'll try to, you know, Dwellers, any unit that I can. Just try to get as lucky as I can. Try to take them out. I haven't been able to get Dwellers off the whole night, so Magic's been a funny one. And here's this combat here, a little bit closer. So I have 1 wound on 1 Treekin. He has 1 knight left. I have 1 Wild Rider here, and it's just not going to go my way. His Sorcerer Lord's buff or his Exalted Hero is just awesome. This unit has flaming attacks for the Banner of Eternal Flame that I so wisely gave them, and you know, they're within 6 inches of the Altar of Cain, so they're frenzied, and they're just going to do a whole host of damage, which they do. I flee, they catch me easily. I'm annihilated. Luckily, I got the points for the knight, which is great. I do give up the Wild Rider, but that's okay. So my turn 6 is coming here. What do I have as an option? I'm going to take my unit of Glade Guard here, turn to face some Marauders. I'm going to charge. I did charge the Chariot over here in turn 5. Now I've set up to charge him again. Hopefully I will catch him. And I will do what I can, but probably won't be able to do anything against this unit of Orcs. So indeed, I turn my BSB's unit to face the Marauders and shoot everything I have at them. Hopefully I'm just going to kill them outright. And here I'm wishing that I hadn't wasted my Hail of Doom arrow. I was thinking that I was going to lose this unit early on, so I just threw the Hail of Doom arrow against the Chaos Warriors. But, you know, if I had just sat back and thought it through, I could have used it. Made sure I killed this unit of Marauders. That was another 235 or 250 points. The Chariot is not actually back there. I charge and I catch it with my Way Watchers, so that's a few other points that I've caught. My Glade Riders are way over next to the other Rock Lava, but too far away for me to get in combat with, so I don't get those points. And basically we come to the end of the game. I try the Dwellers and just don't get it off. I can't cast anything, and that's the end of it. So at the end of the game, the Orcs have this unit of Orc Boys with the General in it. There's the unit of Chosen. Both armies have their General. Again, I know we weren't supposed to play that way, but we did. I did take 1 BSB and 1 Banner, and when we count it all out, I have actually won by 207 points, which was a bit of a surprise. Just fantastic. It was a really close game. It was an excellent game, although very complicated playing 2v1 for Jeffrey's first game. But I think that we are going to have a very competitive ally and enemy at the same time. So thank you all for watching. I'm really looking forward to getting some more games in, and I will be playing in a tournament this weekend back at GameNight.net. Keep watching, and I hope you enjoy it. Take good care. Bye now.